In the heart of the Ashen Isles, where the sky bled a perpetual sanguine crimson, stood the lone peak of Mount Cinder. It was a desolate, jagged wound upon the earth, its peak a gaping maw of molten fury. Upon this volcanic island, a solitary figure moved with grim purpose. Kyle, known only as the chef to the whispers that dared speak his name, approached the crater's edge. The air, thick with sulfur and a palpable sense of dread, did little to deter him. His silhouette, stark against the fiery glow of the lava below, was that of a man about to perform a profane sacrament. He was not here to conquer the volcano, but to harness its infernal power for his own dark culinary arts, preparing for a feast that would forever scar the memory of the world. With a practiced, deliberate slowness, Kale began his preparations. He moved along the treacherous rim of the caldera, his hands gathering ingredients that defied nature. There were shadow fungi that pulsed with a faint violet light, plucked from crevices where the heat was most intense. He harvested obsidian shards that hummed with a low, resonant frequency and collected crystalline salts that hissed as they were scraped from the rock. Each ingredient was a paradox, a thing of terrible beauty born from the island's malevolent heart. As he worked, Kyle mumbled incantations, ancient words that twisted the very air around him. He then positioned a massive iron cauldron, its surface etched with unsettling sigils, over a fissure where pure lava flowed like a river from hell. The vessel glowed cherry red in seconds, ready for the blasphemous concoction he was about to create. As the grotesque stew began to bubble, its aroma, a sickeningly sweet and acrid miasma, drifted on the superheated winds. It was a scent that promised both ecstasy and agony, an irresistible lure for the damned. From the swirling columns of volcanic smoke and the deepest shadows of the island, strange figures began to emerge. They were not human, but coalesced forms of smoke and despair, their shapes indistinct and shifting. Drawn by the unsettling perfume of Kale's creation, these shadowy patrons glided towards the cauldron, their silent hunger a palpable force. With a flourish that bordered on theatrical, Kale ladled the bubbling, horrifying dish into obsidian bowls. He served his guests without a word, a silent purveyor of damnation. The climax of this unholy banquet arrived as the figures consumed the meal. With each spoonful of the glowing, viscous liquid, their ephemeral forms began to writhe and distort. The shadows deepened, their bodies stretching and growing into monstrous parodies of life. Low growls and guttural sighs escaped them, sounds of both pleasure and excruciating transformation. All the while, Kale watched, a sinister, knowing smile playing on his lips. His work was a success. As the last of the feast was consumed, the volcano itself seemed to respond. A deep, ominous rumble echoed from the depths of the earth, the ground trembling in prelude to a cataclysm. The chef's masterpiece was not just the dish, but the apocalypse it would unleash. The rumbling intensified into a deafening roar, and Mount Cinder began to tear itself apart. Fountains of molten rock erupted into the blood-red sky, and pyroclastic flows surged down the mountainside, incinerating everything in their path. The shadowy figures, now titanic and monstrous, were consumed by the very fire that had birthed their feast. The island was swallowed by a maelstrom of destruction, a violent eruption that would wipe it from any map. Through the inferno, a single sound persisted, cutting through the chaos of rock and flame, the chef's triumphant, echoing laughter. It was the sound of a purpose fulfilled, a dark artist admiring his final devastating masterpiece as the world burned around him.